gonna record this. All right,
Okay.
we're recording.
Okay,
Right.
This is Julia. Say hi. You know Julia.
Hi.
Yes.
Yes.
And what about Diane, who's my
Hi,
sister? Diane Pernay, look at the ultimate J Ray. Her name rhymes with you.
Yeah.
Here we are.
That's
We're
my alter ego.
ready for the future fashion. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Horrible.
We're getting it done.
Oh my gosh, Diane, I remember you from my purple days. I don't think you remember me.
Well, I mean, everybody knows you now. Talk to me about your purple days. How was that?
It was fun. I mean, I learned so much. I was actually, I moved to Paris. So like I lived in Germany and I moved from there. I'm like, I enrolled at Parsons Paris, but I dropped out really soon. And I was around the time when Vogue Paris was switching to the English. You know how like now you go there, like you can see the two versions of the site. And now they're like translating everything into English language. And then I could have like an internship there to like help translate stuff. Or at Purple. And I'm like, let me just go to Purple because at Conde, I'll be just fetching coffees.
Was Rain there? Rain?
Yes.
Was.
She,
Okay.
she was doing she's an Australian girl. She had
Yeah, because she later was my assistant.
she's
Or
great.
maybe before she was my assistant. Then she went to Purple. Yeah. Now
Yeah,
she's at
our
Vanity. She's great.
I was like editing pictures.
That's wild. Because your first PR job was in Berlin, right? I want to know a bit about your
It was
art
like I was
passion.
sorting the hangers in the basement. So like,
That's part of it, right?
yeah, that's a job. I was making like 200 euros or 400 or something like that. Yeah.
And then when you were a teenager, you saw Kelly on I always call it Kel on Wheels. I know it's
on
Kel
Earth.
on Earth, but
Kel on Earth, yeah.
in my mind, it's what.
So for whatever reason, I thought I was much younger when I saw it, but like it just doesn't make sense because I had to be like 19 when it came out, or like or something. And I was like, oh, this looks very fun. And Kelly was like the cool version of like Anna Wintour.
the anti-Anna Wintour, right?
Yeah.
Anna Wintour hates all black. Just so
I know. I read that.
Anna Wintour is no all black. So for everybody on this call, this is very AA, anti-Anna.
Well, who cares, right?
Don't be inventing
I
Anna.
don't really
I was
care.
never
I don't
wearing
really care. I mean,
well,
props to her for playing the game as great and as long as she did and raising great children. But as far as her unwelcomingness to black, she's a
I
big
don't get it. Yeah. I mean, come on. I read a quote, you must have been in page 6, I absolutely loved, about your idea of your new pop-up agency, Outlaw. If Thelma and Louise met Mother Teresa and had a
that
baby.
was all Kelly. Why do I have to get refreshed by everything, you guys?
I knew it was all Kelly.
I'm just doing everything now. That's
No, that's not true. I mean, Anna has her own great quotes, but yes, it's true because we're actually trying to help people here. I mean, it's not a fucking joke. Like, we don't really need any more press, me or Anna. Like, we don't need to have press. We don't need to start an agency. I mean, she's selling plenty of artwork and she is one of the most mysterious and captivating characters in the history of pop culture. I mean,
Absolutely.
I would say along the lines of like Oscar Wilde and Truman Capote. Okay. And Edie Sedgwick. Edie Sedgwick. So, and I don't need any more press myself. We're literally doing this because we give a fuck. We don't need one more fucking party or fashion show to go do. Like, we really were. I mean, I'm really happy to meet her because I think she's a genius and I want to run game with people with fast minds and fast hands and fast feet and big hearts. And I think she's that. But more importantly, how am I as a human being and somebody who is old enough to be the mother of my client, they're going to spend $125,000 in a show and be like, yo, the best you can hope for is a review in Women's Wear Daily, or who's going to come? Nobody. You have to beg, borrow, and steal to get 8 meaningful bodies in a seat, where now people think 200 or 300 seats are the way to go. There aren't 200 or 300 people that are going to make a difference in these kids' careers. So when the whole thing came out with Anna, which was like, oh, she said I was the reason that she moved here. She'd already worked at Purple. So I was like, you know what? You're on house arrest. I'm fucked. Let's get together and let's try to up and amplify what the fuck it is that we're doing here, because how else are we going to get attention? And I'm going to tell you something about how we played it and why the Outlaw Agency is the next wave, because it's something that sits separate from People's Revolution. It's something that sits separate from the Anna Delvey brand. And we can get together and we can hire you, Diane. Like, you remember your great, hello, Paris. Hello, Milan.
That was fun.
I hired you to do that invitation. We can
That
do
was
fun
great.
stuff. And Fashion Week sucks in New York. Nobody's having fun. Nobody gives a fuck. There are no stores. There's 7,000 mentally ill people on the street. Thanks to Eric Adams, we are living through a zombie apocalypse. And the
Gonna
biggest
get worse.
Yes, and the biggest lines are outside food
I'll be
stores.
right back.
You want a corn dog? You want a gelato? Oh yeah, there's a million fucking tourists. Nobody's buying clothes in the city. Nobody. Okay, and that's the fucking truth. And nobody wants to
Even
talk
the
about it.
1%.
So what am I going to do? Sit there? No, I mean, yes, I'm sure 1% are. Yes, I'm sure people are going to Bergdorf, but like day in and day out, it's going to take 3 seasons for a new brand to even get any retail. Don't you remember in the old days, it would be like, it would take 2 seasons, and then Julie Gilhart would come in for Bernie's. They'd buy your collection. They'd write an order for $18,000, and everybody would get a hard on. But there's one problem. The collection cost $250,000 to make. So now we have $18,000 at Barney's. They want an exclusive. And now what? That's it. You're deading. You're a debtor. So we don't want that to happen to our clients at my agency. Like, some of these people are mortgaging their houses. Some of these people it's all they have. Like, this is it, so, okay, we want to meet each other. What's the best possible outcome that we work together? Because we both are workaholics. So it's like, cool. And let's do an outlaw agency. Okay. It's called Outlaw. Why? Because that's what it's going to fucking take. It's not going to take some Gen Z person at a desk when you go, oh, what happened with the press release? Well, I emailed it to them. Okay, what did they say? Nothing. How many days was that? 4 days. Okay, guess what? That's unconscionable. If you're a gangster, 4 hours is like what you wait. You don't get that answer in 4 hours. So I'm like, we can't do things in the traditional way. We can't. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough stamina. We need to be different. And we've always needed to be different. You needed to be different. Anna needed to be different. I needed to be different. We're the ones who are asked to be smarter, better, faster, cooler, hipper, and more effective. Okay. KCD, no offense. No offense. I know Paul Cavaco. He used to tell me all the time, People's Revolution is the forward version of what KCD was. But when you're working for Dior and you're an American agency or whatever, how creative are you? Not really. Kim Jones is sending you what the fucking message is. It's your job to call those magazines where you're spending millions of dollars advertising. And guess what? They will kumbaya fit you in. That's not going to happen to our clients at the Outlaw Agency or at People's Revolution. And you know that, Diane. You've had a front row seat to how we beg, borrow, and steal for our clients. And we have a show.
Plus my past as a designer, so.
Yes, you are. Tell Anna about your career, because she should know you anyway. This should be a getting to know you, because you're the genius. You are my ultimate queen. I mean, look at this woman. She is the fucking ultimate beast of the beasts. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, this is not about me. This is about.
It might be.
you.
Maybe we're interviewing you. Maybe we just took over your
No,
interview
we're
for
not
the
turning
Outlaw
it
Agency.
around. This is about the two of you. But yeah, in a capsule. Yes, I had my own brand in New York for 13 years. I say I grew up in public because I never worked for another designer, and I didn't know anything when I started. like I took however long it took until I felt the collection was ready.
Mhm.
And then I didn't know anything about pricing. So I completely didn't price it correctly. I was much too low. So I was like, it sold immediately. But I like, it was really funny because I think I showed spring in March or something, or February. You know, I was completely off schedule. And as 13 years went on, I mean, I managed to learn and grow up in public, I suppose. And then a highlight of my design career was in 1985, I think. This is ancient history. It's vintage. And when,
Almost. You need 2 more years.
yeah.
Wait, can I say something? That's where you and me have something in common. You didn't know how much to price the clothes for. I didn't know how much to steal because they almost gave me the max, so I should have stolen much more.
See, there you go. It's learning
That's
on
on the
the
record.
Yeah, please
learning.
don't put that in. Please don't
I
put
won't.
that in.
Don't worry. I'm like, I'm on your side. But anyway, I mean, I had a department store in Japan because in the 80s, Tokyo was the first to pick up on independent designers. And then I got a license because buying the direct import was a fortune. It was like 3 times more. I knew how to price by now. Anyway, long story short, I had my own brand for 13 years in New York, and then New York from 1987. I don't know how it is at the moment, but starting 1987 to when I left the end of 1990 was kind of Blade Runner. It was all crack, homeless. Tompkins Square Park was
That's when
cardboard.
I moved to Avenue C, 1987. It's exactly when I moved to New York.
And so that was
1987, Avenue C. between
Avenue
10 and
C.
11.
I remember Ed Viege, she did a song with
I
Ed.
know Ed Beach and Mary Paul very, very, very well. I married one.
I used to think the world dropped off after Avenue C. I didn't know there was actually an Avenue D. Because, because one time
Now.
it's yeah, things have changed, right? I mean, Avenue C now is, well, I remember what's the high rise that looked
Oh,
like
the
in
Christadora. You're thinking of the
Christadora.
Christadora because that's where Malcolm McLaren moved in. Don't you remember?
Yeah, and one of my
City
models
and he
lived in
moved to the
the
Christadora.
penthouse.
That was the first bespoke, like,
Yeah.
it was right around the time of the Tompkins Square Park riots. See,
Yes, when it was all cardboard boxes, because it was really funny. Well, it wasn't so funny, but it was kind of funny. One of my shows, the location dropped out at the last minute. And this painter, Isar Patkin, he had said, because I said, okay, I'm not going to do a show because I know I don't have any space. And it's like, whatever. He goes, no, like, I'll find you a space. It was some club on Avenue C. And so the buyers and the press are like walking. This was Avenue C in the 80s.
yeah,
Taking
dangerous,
off the
very.
jewelry, scared to death.
Don't you remember the drunk Irish chick Delia? Do you remember Delia's on Avenue B and 7th Street?
It means something, but I don't have a clear
She
memory
was
of
a
it.
really rich, like, Irish socialite who had a penchant for cocaine and Haitian men. You don't remember her? She had like a
Well,
place,
you know, it's
like,
more than 30 years ago. I am
I
allowed to
know,
forget some things.
I know, I know. It was wild.
Anyway, enough about me. This is not about me. This is about the two of you.
Diane, when we're talking to you, we have to hear about you. I mean, look at you. You're fucking ridiculous. Yana, we should take over this interview. We should just outlaw it.
No, you don't.
Yes.
No, I
Yeah.
want to get back. I want to get back to this. Xiao Yang, okay?
Yes.
How did she become the designer that the two of you are really more the image of I mean, for this show, it's
She deserved it
face
the
it.
most because she deserved it the most, right? We have,
He started it all.
yeah, I mean,
She was a client
like she's
originally.
brand new. First of all, she's brand new. Like we're doing, People's is doing Private Policy New York, which is a great show. And they're doing, their theme is, they're on Vogue Runway and in the New York Times. And, I thought about doing it with them and I did mention it to them and they were like, yeah. But their inspiration is like coral and saving coral. So it made like zero sense to do this type of show, which I think is going to be called Danger Zone for that brand based on their inspiration. And they're also pretty far down the road, like they're not like, they're in it to win it. Like they're already on Vogue, they're being reviewed by the New York Times. Like they're not, abundantly exploding with retail dollars. And this could have been a nice thing for them, but their trajectory is pretty solid, as solid as it can be in a high risk investment. This girl, Xiao, was really interesting because one of the requirements was going to be who's the most egoless designer to get this gift. It's kind of like
Now
Willy
that's a
Wonka.
hard one, isn't it?
It's kind of like a Willy Wonka ticket, you know what I mean? Because if the designer was so like, I am God's gift, it's all about me, I'm gonna dress Beyonce and do a Lipa and blah. Well, guess what? They're not gonna be happy when 70% of the press is like Anna Delvey and Kelly Cutrone present.
Of course.
Why people are here, because Anna and I have joined forces in the Outlaw agency. And so we needed somebody who was humble and malleable and flexible, but at the same time, an amazing designer, because this is a pop-up agency. It's not a traditional runway format. And based on the locations that we've chosen, the editors are not only going to have a bird's eye view, they're going to have a front row in your face fucking view of all of the clothes. And that was really important to us, that the designer is higher than most of the other designers in their ability to execute bespoke garments that are incredibly well sewn without any problems, with the styling that's formidable, formidable, and to make it great. And so we did that with her because she graduated Parsons in 2004. She has a tailoring.
She's been around a long time.
Yes, but she is doing bespoke atelier tailoring. It originally started out, and
She's been around almost 20 years.
Yeah, but she has not with this brand. I'll tell you what happened. So she is a first generation Chinese immigrant who graduated Parsons. She starts this business and she's making suits for rich guys on Wall Street. I don't know what happens. She falls in love.
It's not bad. She's getting
She falls
money.
in love. She meets her husband there. He's really great. He's like a family office guy. Cool. One thing leads to another. And somehow her business, long before me, she becomes the go-to. Like Manuel is the go-to for country suiting. She becomes the go-to for LGBTQA, non-binary, most percentage-wise lesbian, boardroom and wedding suitings. And guess what? Straight guys from Wall Street don't want to go get a scotch and get fit next to chicks like that, right? Like, let's just be honest. So I met her because they were investing in a brand called the Dog Pound, which is a gym where Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, all these fucking people go. They want to do a sportswear line. I met the CEO of the brand. I said, boo, boo, boo. I don't think he has the emotional integrity to be able to champion a brand. I would, if I were you, take this intention of wanting to do streetwear with bespoke clothing and put it into something that's more diverse. And in her case, more diverse means to include heterosexual people or polyamorous people or however the fuck, and do a brand that appeals to men and women, regardless if they're straight or gay or whatever, that has a little more flex and a little more street. And we'll call it Xiao, and we'll release you during, we'll do the show during Fashion Week. Well, as the months went on, I thought, this girl's so great. Like, what am I going to tell her when she spends all her money? What's going to happen after the show when we don't get the press that she deserves for that kind of money? How are we going to?
This investor is paying for the show.
She is investing in herself with her own money and her husband.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's like, how can I look her in the eye and be like, congratulations, you're in the San Jose Mercury News, you're on 4 blogs, 7 irrelevant stylists were there who have under 10,000 followers. And yeah, you got a review in Women's Wear Daily. Like, would you be happy? I wouldn't be. So
No.
that's when this whole Anna moment came about, and like she hasn't even shown yet, and she's in Interview Magazine, Us Magazine, People Magazine, Page 6, Grazia, L'Officiel,
It's true. It's
and now
everywhere.
a Shaded View. So guess what? It worked. So
Yeah,
now
it's
we actually
amazing.
have proven our point, and we could do this not only for new designers, we can do it for fledgling companies, we can do it for your film festival, Diane. You should be a client of the Outlaw Agency. We talked about this earlier.
I told you my new kids theme.
I already have a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 12-year-old for you. Because I roll with Rushes. And
3-year-old is too young. It's 6 to 12.
okay, I have kids for you. All right.
But what about Gap kids? That's like,
We need to go get money from them afterward. We had the conversation 4 days ago. I've already found the children.
that's great. That's great.
And they're Black, which is even better because
Hey,
it's great.
no, I like from everywhere.
It's awesome. We have
I had my first submission from an adorable little guy in
Yeah.
Rome, but I told him, I said, you made it a minute long and it's supposed to be 16 seconds. So you're gonna have to edit. But it's great. It's adorable.
It's so cute. And
No,
that's
I'm really excited about that.
yeah.
So you're gonna have 60 people, 30 people on each rooftop, right?
Yeah, you can't say where. You can just say the
I'm
show.
not gonna say where.
You can
I'm
The
asking.
agency's called Outlaw, and the location is also Outlaw. And
Right,
will
because
be
it says
given
Canal
to-
Street something.
Yeah, that's fine. It's gonna be TBD, but yes, there will be about 60 to 100 invitations that will be given, including major press, like CNN style, like everybody's already covering. And I have to
Great.
say, I've
Wow.
been in PR for 30 years, and CNN style has never, ever, ever called and asked me, Kelly Cutrone, if they could cover the first time show of a new designer. And that is the power of Anna Delvey. And that
Of
is the power of
course.
this combination, because
Great.
yeah,
No, that's great.
we're
So
only
these
dancing
buyers,
with the big boys, baby.
so the buyers are gonna have to walk up, or the
We're
press.
not even inviting buyers.
Buyers are invited?
No,
Awesome.
Why?
no waste of a seat. They never buy anything. We're not inviting the buyers.
I
No.
mean, they can blindly pre-buy something.
Yeah, they can buy our merch, or maybe we'll come visit some of the collection. We're not inviting these people.
We can
Okay.
invite them to the after party that we have to.
Yeah,
And then,
do.
yeah, maybe they can come to the after party. We don't have a seat for them unless they want to buy something before. We have line sheets already. So if they
I
want to put
saw,
their
Joyce
Yeah,
said
if they
this
want to
one
put
thing.
their money where their mouth is and put in a small order, we'd be happy to provide them with a seat. Otherwise, we'll talk to them after the season. Like, what do we need their ass to be in a seat for? They don't
Well,
buy.
that's unique. That is a unique approach.
Yeah, they're not welcome. They don't buy anything. Look around.
Yeah.
I
It's like, I have to
know.
go to jail for this, for being full of shit.
We're not into illusion. We're not into mercy fuck seating. We have very small. Everybody's ass needs to join the class. We need results.
Okay, so they know that when they know how special they are to be invited.
Well, I mean, it's just like, why should we invite a buyer unless they're going to buy the collection? People who want to buy something understand, because for 20 years, nobody's bought anything off a show. Remember in the old days, like in Paris, like with Paco Rabanne, like we used to go and see everybody at the Ritz Hotel, and we have an open salon, and people would come and they would buy. They'd always buy after the collection. And everyone knows that nobody buys anything off the runway in New York anymore. Never once. Not in 20 years have I sold one fucking garment off a buyer who goes to the show and goes, oh my God, I have to have it. They already knew. They were pitched before, they were pitched afterward. They always wait 2 to 3 seasons to see if the designer has legs, if they're going to make it. So we don't have legs. We're amputees. This girl has nothing. Okay. I don't know.
You're
what the word-
amputees.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
God.
don't have legs. This brand doesn't have legs. It's brand new. We have no legs. You
But
know.
20 years, they should have some legs.
No, but she has legs on tailory. Okay. Like her tailory business is a completely separate thing. This is a new brand. And so, and her tailory business is bespoke. So she doesn't deal with buyers. She deals with wealthy
Right.
people who come in to spend $2,000 to $5,000, $6,000 on bespoke garments that are made to measure.
So how does she feel?
This
So,
is ready to
okay, it's
wear.
a total press event. So the whole idea is that people know her name and they'll know it because of your association.
Right.
So she knows from the beginning no buyers are coming.
Right. We're not inviting buyers. I mean,
And
I would
she
invite
feels
like
fine about
if
that.
boutique. Yeah, she's totally fine with it because she also knows the fucking truth too. Like we have 60 seats. Like, I mean, I'll invite like if boutique for sure. Like, but I'm just gonna walk into if boutique with the clothes. Like Anna has 6 garments at her house right now. I'm gonna grab those garments and I'm gonna go see Jean, you know, who owns if boutique, Jeanette. And I'm
I
gonna show
used to buy my clothes back in the
she's
day.
the queen, man. And you know,
Even my perfume when I had the perfume.
with number 7, right?
No, it was Diane Pernay Paris. It was with Intertrade. I had 5. I just terminated the contract. I had it for 9 years, but it was carried in if.
It was.
Yeah.
Wow. We should bring that back.
I didn't make any money. The guy was a total crook.
Was it
I mean,
that
I
guy
can't
that
even begin to
the
tell
guy
you.
who did it with the 7 boutique? That kid?
No, it wasn't Joseph Cartana, but
No,
actually
the
he
other
worked
kid.
with the same Intertrade.
I remember I
He
did the
screwed
publicity for
him.
that.
Screwed him. And I mean, I made nothing from it.
I know. We all know
Nothing.
what that's
It
like.
was, that's why the last thing he sent me, it was such a joke. I just told my lawyer, like, you know, just let's terminate this because he's a crook and like awful. But so we sent a letter of termination. He never said it. He never responded. And my lawyer said, well, take it as you're free.
Okay.
Fine,
Kind of a
so-
gangster approach.
Because I mean, oh God, it was awful. But the perfume was nice. But the guy was really Italian mafia type. But anyway.
Kelly's favorite kind.
I love it. You know,
Yeah, well, it was no fun when you're making no money from it. I
no
mean,
fun when you're
I
making.
thought it was going to be my cash cow. I thought
Well,
I
I
would
wouldn't
be
give up on a fragrance deal for you.
no, I would love
I'm
another
trying to
one.
get a fragrance sponsor right now for the event. And if I get them, I'm gonna see if I can get you a fragrance deal. Outlaw is gonna take 20% of anything that we manifest for
That's
you with
fine.
the PR retainer, which we'll get them to cover. So don't worry. Do we have your permission? I just want to make
You
sure.
have my permission. I
Oh,
wish
being
I could have
recorded.
smelled the perfume.
Okay, great. Okay.
But I can't. I don't have the formulas. But it was great. I loved it. Was, you know, after being a designer for 13 years and then on the other side just pushing other people forward, which I love to do. It's a pleasure. Doesn't bring me any money whatsoever, but I do it out of, you know, I don't know, I must be
You can't
insane.
help yourself.
I can't help
Like
myself.
me,
It's
you
part
can
of my
help it.
DNA.
But you can take with you into grave, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I mean, I really thought the perfume was gonna be like my future.
Well,
And
maybe
it should have been.
just one failure does not a complete failure make. That's it.
No, I
Like,
mean,
who are the people who play Madison Square Garden? The ones who keep going after someone throws tomatoes at them at a shit bar in Asbury Park.
exactly. I mean, that's my mentality. I keep going. I have tunnel vision. I want to do something. It's gonna, you know, the festival is in the 15th edition.
I
And
did
I'm only
PR for the
starting at
first
0,
one.
not looking for money.
I did
I
the
tried your
first,
skill, Anna. of
get
getting
money.
money from people.
We're gonna get money for you. The Outlaw agency will grab money for you. I did the PR for the first one, didn't I? I did.
I know, you were great. We had the LA Times, Jeremy Scott,
Yeah, we had starring.
Ruth Moore and her
Yes,
husband.
yes.
And that stylist, who was a stylist? A really good stylist. I think she worked with Jeremy Scott, maybe.
Carlene Surf,
No,
Masha Orloff, Joanne Blades.
no. Because this is going back to 2006.
2006 was Joanne Blades or Masha Orloff from Purple.
No, I know Marsha from forever. It's not her.
Joanne, Carlene. There was
Somebody lives in LA.
a style like Mariam Melkapour.
I don't remember, but you invited them. They were there. You were great. She was my favorite. She was
Corinne Radfeld now.
what's
She's
what?
book with Corinne Radfeld.
Yeah, I don't do anything with Karine.
Me either. I've never even met Corinne. I mean, once, like I see her in passing.
She was sitting next to me once at a show and she had interesting perfume on. It was a bit sweet. And I asked her what it was. And that's my entire contact with her.
I know
Forever.
she's like launching a book, I think, later this year. Because I was
Probably.
trying to explain somebody who Corinne Radfeld was, and I was like, I just need to show you the mood board. And then I was like, let me just get the Irreverent book. But then like they don't publish it anymore. And then they wanted like $300 to get a book from eBay. So I was like, I texted my mom. I was like, you better have my Irreverent book from Paris. I was like, just ship it to me.
Wow.
$300 to ship it from Germany to the New York. And she
Crazy.
did. About to like get here tomorrow in 2 days.
Yay.
So
Yeah.
your parents have been like supportive.
I mean, they're not like too excited, but they're like, just keep us out of your shit. Because I mean, I feel bad because every time like something happens to me, it's like, I don't know, I get released, I get arrested, they're like photographers at their house, and they're like just harassing them. And nothing good ever comes out of it for them. It's just like just people taking pictures of them and like leaving.
Yeah, no, I can imagine they're a bit harassed. So
Yeah.
how do you're doing the choreography and the casting?
We're doing everything together. So we're
Okay.
looking at all the clothes together. We're designing the invite right now. We have 2 completely different invites. We could share them with you on screen and you could pick the one you
Yeah.
like better.
Okay, oh, you're deciding between.
Yeah,
the
we
two.
have 2 distinctly different invites.
I didn't see them.
Then the guest list we're working on, the locations, the permits, like what we need, everything. We're doing everything together in real time.
How you can only go to the roof and
I'm allowed
can't
to
leave your
go
place.
within my building.
You can walk around the building.
Yeah. So it's like anywhere like I need to take my trash down. So I have like a 5th floor walk up.
Yeah,
So
she
do I.
does. Very, very high. Welcome.
I'm responsible for Kelly's 20-pound loss. But
Yeah, I look thinner because I'm not on Ozempic. I'm just friends with Anna Delvey.
Well, that's good. Well, you'd have the same benefit in Paris. You know what happened? This is really funny. My sister is in Paris for like 5 more days. And she's been here for 2.5 weeks already. And I always wear platform shoes. I've worn them for like forever because I'm height challenged and I'm 5'2". I want to be 5'7". So between the hair and the high platforms, I kind of work it out.
Like 6 feet.
And when my
Overshot
friend-
the 5'7", bitch.
when my friend Miguel was in town, he kept saying, "You've got to get a pair of trainers." And I thought, oh God, no, I'm not going to.
No, we
And then
don't
I'm
know the
thinking,
secrets.
I'm walking around with my sister because she's staying cat sitting for a friend of mine. He used to be my editor at French Vogue Internet. But she's in the total opposite end of Paris. It's in Porte de Bagnolet. They have a house, an area I never ever go to. but I've been there every single day of life for the past couple weeks. And so I went to Nike. That was an experience. And I bought a pair of trainers called Scorpio, actually.
Oh, good. Now you have my attention.
Yes. So I bought this pair and I thought, okay, I'm only going to see my sister. So, and I never felt so comfortable in my life, of course, except when I looked down at my shoes. But so I've been walking around Paris, taking her wherever she wanted to go. And I thought, walking up the 5 flight of stairs, which usually it's very loud with my platforms, it's very soft with these shoes. I realized that because platforms, you don't really exercise your calf. It's the same as if you wore high heels all your life, you don't, your Achilles tendon, it shrinks or something. So I'm getting like feeling muscles I never felt walking up the steps because I'm walking.
Why didn't you just, like, I had an apartment in Paris forever, on Rue Port-au-Faune near the Bless store. What I used to do, I had a 6th floor walk up. Don't you leave a pair of flats? See, what I still do it in my New York apartment. I leave a pair of Javianas or some Gucci slides down near the door. And when I come home, knowing that I'm going to be tired or it's a long walk or, I might be impaired, I can.
But going down is the issue. Coming up in high heels, you don't care because you're just like coming up on your toes anyway. So it's like, it doesn't matter what you wear. Coming down is where it's at.
When I go down Anna's stairs, I've been wearing these like Gucci clogs, which I also recommend for comfort. These are like a Gucci piss take on Crocs, but I have to go sideways in Anna's building, like.
Oh, because it's a winding
stair.
stair.
Too thick, yeah. I just boom.
I know. See, that's the thing with my platform shoes. They're not on an angle. They're flat, like they're...
Exactly.
I show you something because I have them made. Okay?
No one knows how funny Diane Pernay.
Oh, they have a bit of angle.
Diane, I have a pair of boots like that from Acne. I'm gonna send to you. You can.
I had them made for me by this girl, a French girl in London, for the past 20 years, Natasha Marrow. But now she's not making them anymore.
Oh,
she's doing ready to wear, and these are custom, so they're comfortable. They're comfortable, but they're heavy. They're like a brick, and they're loud. But I'm vain. I'm a prisoner of my own vanity. So you might be a prisoner of house arrest. I'm a prisoner of my own vanity. So I'm always wearing those platform shoes no matter what, except for the past 2.5 weeks. And now I've decided, okay, I am going to, when I go to the vegetable stand or do shopping around the neighborhood, I'm going to wear those trainers.
Awesome. And you should. And what about Rick Owen and Michelle making you some kind of, I have those Rick Owen Converse Batman sneakers, the real.
No, I don't want, I'm not going to wear them out in like, going anywhere.
Okay. Just nowhere. You're going nowhere in comfort.
Undercover.
Going nowhere in comfort and everywhere in style. Is that the message, Diane?
I mean, the platform shoes are actually comfortable, but it's not, but you don't feel the ground underneath you. Like when you're on cobblestones, it's very dangerous because
and
I walk very slow.
I had those Lanvin wedges. They were the cork ones. And this was a period where I would like only wear dresses and skirts, and I was in Paris. It was because of Corinne Rothfeld for like, I wouldn't say a year, but almost a year, like 8-9 months. And I had an apartment. So first I had an apartment in Levallois-Perret, but I moved there. And then I moved to Champs-Elysees, which is the worst place. I mean, I had like this shitty studio, but it was right next to Franklin D. Roosevelt Metro. But I would just walk because it was summer. It was kind of nice. I would walk down the Rue Saint-Honoré. And I would like, yeah. I would like cooker, and I thought I was like, I went to New New York, and one of my friends like, you can't do this in New York. People will like ask you, they think you're a hooker. But I would like wear the heels all the time.
Well, I mean, nobody's asked me if I'm a hooker. I was stopped on the street once by some random person who asked me if I was a dominatrix, and I was like thrown back. It was like,
You should have been like a dominatrix. Are you thinking about our dear friend Bethany Vernon?
Bethany Vernon. She is, but she is, and she's a great one, I'm sure.
Oh, I know her from Olivia too. She's the redhead.
She's one of,
Yeah.
I'm her publicist. She's one of my best friends.
No, she's great.
She's the best.
I know. I
She's
met
from
her
West
years ago.
Virginia. She's a self-made girl from West Virginia who married the heir of Fornicetti, Barnaby. Remember that?
I know.
I helped her open her first dominatrix salon on the Paradise Found on Rue Malaire. Do you remember?
Yeah, that's where I met her.
Yes.
In the
In
pink
Paris.
with Mr.
And
Pearl's
green,
corset.
emerald green, yes, the pink and the emerald green, the whole. I met her from Marilyn Manson.
Padded walls.
What?
She had those kind of padded walls.
Of course, rubber padded walls. Because you know, when you smash somebody up against a wall to fuck them, it's nice if it's comfortable.
I'm sure, but I'm, not my life.
That's called consent.
I'm not in judgment. It's just not my life.
How to Read a Room. How to Read a Room by Bethany Vernon.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I remember meeting her. I was interviewing her for something.
Probably
Above
me.
magazine. Above magazine. It was Sasha Lilik had a magazine.
Did I introduce you and Bethany or no? You must have known each other.
Oh, Sasha. I don't remember. Or maybe it wasn't Above magazine. I was interviewing her for something.
She's amazing.
Paradise Found, right? And
Yeah.
she answers the door in a Vivienne Westwood dress.
Yeah. When I met her,
Long
she was
green
wearing a Mr. Pearl corset and some Margiela wide leg Victor and Rolf pants, actually.
And Mr. Pearl is one of my dearest friends.
You know, I was his publicist forever. How's he doing?
Good. He's doing costumes.
Okay.
He's living now in Brussels.
Okay.
He had to leave Paris, tax reasons.
It's always sad. It's
And
always
to come back, he has to come back through Brussels.
It's Thalys, the speedy train. It's one
Yeah,
stop.
so you're
Thalys.
not coming from London to Paris.
oh the channel, the Eurostar. Yeah, the channel.
Well, he can't. I mean, he's not supposed to be in Paris.
Oh wow, that's so stupid. Well, why not drive?
Yeah, no, he doesn't drive. Can you picture Mr. Pearl driving? Do you know who Mr. Pearl is? He's this the most.
He's the number one most important corset maker in the history of corsetry in the modern day world.
And he used to
Also,
have a
off
waist
the record,
like
a bit of a.
Thalys is still there.
He
The
did,
trains are so good in Europe.
What did you say?
The trains are so good in Europe. Like
Yeah.
Paris is 2.5 hours away from my parents' house.
Yeah,
I would
no,
go once
really.
Here, Thalys, yeah, it's like Aachen, Aix-la-Chapelle, former, and then you stop in Brussels, and then in Paris. It like rides right in the middle of the city. And
Great.
yeah.
Yeah, so he takes the train, and so he doesn't have to go through the customs in the UK.
Our printer, purple printer, used to be in Brussels. Would go to
How did
Brussels.
you get on with Olivier Zahm? Was he trying to come
No,
on to you, I'm sure?
I learned so much from him. Let's leave it at that.
Okay.
We're still good friends.
long live Olivier is what I have to say. He's great, Olivier. He's done a lot for a lot of people. I love the fact that I like Olivier because he knows exactly what's going on, but he always seems so confused. He's always like, what? I don't know. You're like, Olivier, you know fucking everything that's going on. You're the master.
I'm sure he does. I have no relationship with him whatsoever.
Really?
No.
You don't know him?
I know him. I just don't like him
Oh, really?
personally. I
Is he
know
not-
him. Well, I
Oh,
think it's a mutual dislike.
oh, those are the best kind.
But we've been in a lot of the same place. Last time I saw him, actually, he was in a Japanese restaurant with two of his kids. He has two kids.
Azia is his daughter. Yeah. And I don't
And
know.
he was quite friendly. I think it was the first time he was ever friendly. I was in there with somebody else, just sort of passing through the table. But no, we have no, other than Rain worked there. And
He doesn't have a lot of social skills, though. It might not be real. I mean, he doesn't, he's not Mr.
always coming on to people. He must have. I'm surprised the Me Too movement didn't get to him.
Loves women. He like genuinely loves the female gender as a whole.
Yes. But I mean, I love his publications.
Girls throw themselves at Olivier Zahm. I've been around it.
Well, he throws
They
himself.
fucking, I counted once how many girls tried to fuck Olivier Zahm at the Beatrice, and you can quote me on this. In
I'm
one
not going
night,
to.
one night. It was, I've never seen it. I've never seen anything. He has like, do you remember that word FQ, fuckability quotient? He has like a very high FQ. That's all I have to say about it.
I'm
I've
sure,
never
but
fucked him.
I don't find him. I mean, he wears very tight white jeans, which you can't help but notice.
Same one.
You're a power bitch. You're not going to go for a guy like Olivier. That's not going to be your
No.
type of guy. I told Anna that during the anniversary of the World Trade Center, you and I sat outside in Bryant Park in these type of clothes that we're wearing now. And the only thing that we talked about was our skin and boys that we liked. And we looked like we were going to eat 100 children for breakfast.
That's probably what people would think, you know.
Yes.
But I mean, Olivier's. Remember Vanessa Contessa, Roxanne.
I know Roxanne, you know, I went,
Yes. That's
I'm
how we
much
met with Roxanne.
what?
Remember at her hotel when I met you in
Don't you
Paris.
remember they thought Roxanne and I were a lesbian couple? Don't you remember?
I do remember.
When we checked into the Hotel Bellamy. So Roxanne Lowitt was a backstage photographer for Vogue for 30 years. The only thing Anna Wintour ever said to her whole time was, did you get the picture? And she was really good friends with Fran Drescher. We were flying to Paris. And we just ended up seeing each other on that migratory flight from New York after Fashion Week to Paris to go to work. We were all there. Their car was broken. I took them in my car. We were all staying in the Hotel Bellamy, and we checked in and we had separate rooms. And no sooner did I get to my room than I started getting all these invitations like YSL, you know, Cartier. And I'm like, these are for Roxanne Lowitt. So I went downstairs and like, oh, but aren't you with Miss Lowitt? Like, aren't you Miss Lowitt's girlfriend? And I'm like in the middle of the Hotel Bellamy going, I am not the fucking assistant mistress of Roxanne Lowitt. I am a fucking fashion show producer for Vivienne Westwood, Terry McLaren, Paco Rabanne. You will not speak to me like I'm some lesbian assistant. And then the whole time I got back to the hotel, I would see Roxanne working in the business center, and I would like hop behind the desk and I would call her on her French cell phone. I'd be like, you look so hot in that black raincoat you're wearing today.
God, but she'll be happy we're talking about her.
Oh my
The
God.
reason
I
I
went to
brought
her
up-
funeral. I went to her thing, you know, her thing that Vanessa did in New York.
Yeah, no, I heard about it, but obviously it wasn't there.
I
She
know.
was my neighbor for 13 years in New York.
She's the
But
best.
the reason I brought up Vanessa, talking about Olivier Zahm, I was with her at some party, I don't know what it was, for some fashion party. And Olivier Zahm is coming up to Vanessa and he's trying to seduce her. And she was like, he was smoking that cigar. I can't stand cigars. I'm allergic to them. The smell, it just gives me hives. And she just couldn't stand him. She was like, he smells, he's dirty, he's this, get him away from me. And I was like, yeah.
You know what it is though, too, is like,
Maybe
You guys had already surpassed the charm of Olivier. You'd already had that charm in the form of other people before, so you don't need that again, you know? I mean,
probably
been there,
true.
done that, got the t-shirt kind of vibes. Like you guys were already too well on your way of success and power. And he does
She
very,
was
very
young
well
then, though.
with like
Vanessa.
Michelle and Carl and his like little inner circle, Terry, whoever. And then the rest are like the younger kids who want to know how to get ahead. So that makes total sense. You know what I mean? Like, why would you? Like, you don't want to fuck him. Like, you don't need to be in
Ah,
purple. Like, so who cares? Like,
no,
yeah.
I like purple. I wouldn't mind. Sometimes I'm in it.
Well, maybe the outlaw agency can negotiate
I never ever heard him say anything bad or negative about you. That's like how I know you from Paris.
Well, that's nice to know because, like, on the surface, it doesn't feel like there's any connection.
I think it's more that I don't want to say this like on the record. I think he's on the spectrum. I don't think he's capable of real intimacy, like a thing like you and I are doing right now. I don't think he's capable of that. And I'm not making excuses for him, but he doesn't have a depth, you know? And it's a little different for me because I have a plethora of clients that may or may not bring money into his magazine, or it might not be good for him to talk about. So he's a little more interested, but his ability to really connect is very limited. And I think he's somebody that has created this Wizard of Oz, excuse the pun, you know, kind of yellow brick Parisian road. So he can exist. And I think that the magazine does a lot of the connecting for him. I don't think he's a connector. I mean, seriously, like as somebody who used to be an ICU psych nurse, I think that he's limited in his ability to connect for more than 2 to 3 minutes. I don't think he's capable of real intimacy like that. And then I think the way that he shows his love is through manifesting like that great story or that great campaign or whatever.
I mean, I totally respect what he does in his publications. I think he's, I remember him and Ezra started out at the same time, right? Self-service and
Yeah.
purple. They hate each other.
Yeah, I know, like Puma and Adidas. And Da Silvano and what the other fucking restaurant is. What's the Italian restaurant next to Da Silvano? You know,
In
with
New
the
York, you mean?
what?
Da Savannah in New
Yeah,
York.
yeah, it's closed now.
Oh, I didn't know that. But, I haven't lived there for 32 years. So
I don't know. Are you ever gonna come back? Are you gonna stay in Paris your whole life?
probably, God knows how much longer that is.
You're gonna live a long time. What the fuck are
I
you
don't
saying?
want to live a long time.
You don't?
I've lived much longer already than I ever dreamed.
Okay, well, you're hot and sexy, and I want you to be around. I mean, at least I live till I get back to Paris. I need to come soon. I might come after my trip to Spain, just to have tea with you.
When's your trip to
Spend a
Spain?
night at the Maurice, September 29th.
Oh, that's during Fashion Week in Paris.
Oh yeah, I definitely won't come. Maybe another time. I have zero interest in being in Paris.
Yeah, I think it's
You never come to New York?
not really. I mean, I was there during that climate conference. I was there for 2 nights. I had some of my films were screened at MoMA. It was a big mess, actually. But it sounds good. The directors are happy because their films were screened at MoMA, but the whole thing was so badly organized.
Who did it? Not the outlet.
I forget her name. It was some woman connected with the United Nations, and actually all her interest was in having a luncheon for diplomats' wives.
Oh, that's what.
People probably paid $1,500 a plate. I went with, Eric Damon, costume designer for
Yep.
Gossip Girls. He's an old friend of mine. I asked him to come with me. At the last minute, I was offered the lunch, or offered that I could bring somebody to the lunch. I guess she had an extra.
+1.
Yeah, somebody doesn't show up, and it was the most ridiculous thing you could ever see. It had like they had 100 years of fashion or something. Eric and I were just dying at what they were doing. It was craziness. The whole thing was crazy. They had some girl walking around in a frame. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how bad this was. But it was so bad it was funny. But they thought this was fashion, you know, whatever she was doing. So all she cared about was making the money from the luncheon for the diplomats' wives. And the screening of films on sustainability, she could care less, but she pretended to care. And it was during the climate. And they put me at the worst hotel. The
Progress.
This is me signing out from
okay.